Hey, Wombat.
Oh boy, come on! You didn't tell me we were going to talk about this.
The Representative Troy Nehls, Aviation Subcommittee Chairman, reintroduces the Let Experienced Pilots Fly Act. They want to raise the retirement age from 65 to 67 because people just won't go away. Addressing the pilot shortage is one of my top priorities in Congress, says the man who knows nothing about the pilot shortage. With air travel continuing to hit record highs, we must prioritize the safety and effectiveness of air travel by not doing anything related to air travel that begins by putting old people in cockpits of commercial planes in the United States. The current mandated retirement age for commercial pilots is inherently arbitrary because anybody in Congress could be 87 years old and be doing this job. Why not an airline pilot? In 2007, mandatory retirement age went from 60 to 65, which pissed off the entire industry, unbeknownst to those of us that would like to have a full career, resulting in stagnation, drama, divorce, bankruptcy, and general storytelling in all cockpits. This was filed as an amendment to 2023 first time, and it didn't make it out, but now they're trying again because why won't they just stop? Wombat, your thoughts?
I hate you guys so much. Oh my gosh, I hate you so much for talking about this. Wasn't it bad enough yesterday that I was called junior scum by a senior pilot? Do I need to really go into this right now? Like,
okay, Gonky.
Somebody else start first.
Dude, I mean, this is what the second time they've
more than second.
70th time.
Yeah,
dude, these guys are getting to the end and they're like, I can't let go.
That's my thing. I just don't understand why, like, you just like 67 and then it'll be like, well, how about 70?
Yeah. Well, remember, it's not 67, it's 67 in 364 days. So it's really 68.
Well,
yeah, it's on.
It's really 71. You know,
and why not making it even 69? Because that's a cool number.
Yeah. Why not go back to 60? Could we opt for that?
Like, you're always free to go in your own time. That's what they were going to say. You're always. But the thing is, it's not experience and age aren't necessarily like you could have somebody that just started flying at 60. I just saw a thing on the internet about that. So like it has nothing to do with that or safety or anything else. It is about people that want to hold on longer because times are good.
Yep.
Now, will I be old one day? Who knows? But
I hope so. I mean,
maybe it's undetermined at this point. But my point is, see, I already forgot, and that's the problem. You can't have the age with the thing. No, I mean, look, you're free to fly after 65 anywhere. You can go be a flight instructor. You could go work for NetJets. You can
Part 91, right?
Yeah.
Part 121 is a union thing, and there's the problem because you sign up and you're like, okay. The contract is I'm going to be here till age 65. It used to be 60, but a certain select few got 5 more years and they won the lottery on that. But
now they want 2 more.
Right. And but the 65, you knew that, and it is preventing those that are junior. Now, get rid of seniority numbers and allow everybody to go anywhere they want and make it based on merit. You got a different argument. But the airlines are based on seniority, and every time you do this, you're stagnating the people behind. And it's the pilot shortage is not a shortage of old people. It's a shortage of young people that can't figure out how to pay for the expensive cost of flight training and how to get good, solid training to make their way up into the airlines. And I don't think we even have a shortage anymore because it's kind of worked itself out.
Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, and it always, dude, they hire till they fire. Right?
Yeah.
So there really is never a healthy plateau. It's like gangbusters until, oh my gosh, would this thing happened? Or
look at Spirit.
Right. I was going to say, unfortunately, for those men and women over at Spirit, it's not looking so good. And when that happens, what is that? 4,000, I don't know, thousands of pilots on the street. There goes your, a couple of years of hiring at everywhere else, because you have very qualified, talented people coming out there. But as far as flying into 67, I mean, I get it. There's some 67-year-olds out there that are in better shape than me, and there are some that, aren't with us anymore. So, it's I'm not 67. I don't have the passion to fly airliners like maybe some people do. Is it age discrimination? I don't know. But Mover, I mean, you said it pretty well. It's, union, seniority based. And, you know, in that regard, yeah, you are kind of hosing the junior folk. But then again, you know, if you're senior, you're like, well, dude, I was junior once, right? So,
well, see, and that's, yeah, that inherently what you just said is what I refer to, especially as somebody who didn't go to the Naval Academy, as academy syndrome. What we're seeing in aviation right now with this push is it's academy syndrome. And what I mean by that is I was crapped on as a freshman. So now I'm a sophomore, I'm going to crap on the freshman.
Right.
So that's what you do. And here's the issue that I think, now there's things, I want to be very careful what I say because I do like my job. I don't want to lose my job. There's always exceptions to every rule. I've worked with people that are nearing age 65 that are sharp as a tack. I've flown with people in their 50s that I'm like, how did you get to the airport? So, I mean, it's not
at
a
your
blanket.
airline. It's some other airline, of course. Yeah.
Other airlines. So but the point I get at is this is not, okay, so let's hypothetically say we pass it, right? So the US passes it. Great. That doesn't mean that the world passes it, right? So now what about when your 66-year-old who's been on a 787 living the good life is like, hey, boss, you can't fly into Europe because you're over 65. So you got to go back to the 7.3 and hoof it at 3 legs a day. What's going to happen then?
Well,
right?
Wombat, you make a point that I think requires emphasis. The people that are, we're conflating age with seniority, which I hate doing. But let's, for the sake of argument, say that age is seniority and that the 65-year-olds, because the whole premise is that they're saying that they need someone to train the younger generation, and it's only them. Well, if you are that senior and you are 65 to 67, you are not flying with the 23-year-old fresh out of CFI school who needs experience. You're flying with Gonky, fighter pilot, Wombat, fighter pilot, me, fighter pilot, that we've been doing this for a while.
Yep.
And you're probably on a wide body, which means we've been doing it for 10 years or something like that. You're not, like, it's such a disingenuous argument to say I'm giving you my experience when you're already flying with experience, dude. Like, all you're doing is buying more. Just be honest with yourself. Be honest with everybody.
That is my biggest issue.
I want 2 more years because I have 4 ex-wives and everybody hates me. Okay, well, guess what?
Yeah, this
we'll
flying
take
is
that
my
deal.
whole life,
yeah,
and I can't lose it or I'm going to die.
I'll trade you age limits for Congress in exchange for this.
I would even go one further. How about this? If you're so dedicated, if you can look at me, so I will take this stand. Okay, I'll soapbox because I'll stand by this. I'll talk to any pilot in the airport and say this to their face. If you are so steadfast on this stance that you believe your experience is so high that you need to stick around for basically another 3 years to help the airline industry, then I have a deal for you. When you hit age 65, you automatically go back to the regionals and you fly with the junior most pilots on regional planes and give them all of your experience. Asterisk, I apologize to all the junior pilots at regional airlines that would have to fly with those guys. But my point being is if you truly had a passion for this, that's what you'd be advocating for. You'd be send me back. I want to go and teach the next generation, not sit on a 777, dozing for dollars at the highest pay scale and just sitting there making people's lives miserable because you're pitching your agenda. So yes, this does bother me because I don't have a problem with somebody flying over 65 whatsoever. I worked in the training department. We had contract instructors well into their 70s that were phenomenal. We had a guy closing in on 80 that was still a contract instructor and did aircraft acceptance flights. The dude was amazing. Anno, by the way, had just sold his extra 300. Okay. We had some guys that were unbelievable. Okay. They found a way to train the next generation. You see my point? If their pitch is, my experience is so vast, I have to pass this on. It's our legacy of aviation. They found a way. They taught in the sim. They did different things. This is a money grab. This has always been a money grab. That's all this is. Yep. And you know what? As somebody who flies as little as I can because I value my time with my family, just like Gonky has flown and talked about, don't sit here and tell me it's anything other than a money grab. Because it is.
Yeah.
It's a money grab. And you know what? Just freaking own it.
Yeah.
I have so much more respect for you.
Yep.
If you stand up and go, do you realize at 64 and a half as a wide body captain how much money I make? It is stupid. And I want more of it because every American would be like, yeah, I can get on board with that. That makes sense. I like money. And if somebody was going to give me more money for more years, I'd be like, okay.
Only
But
if we can get age
cloud
limits
it.
for Congress.
Don't cloud it around this. I want to teach the next generation because there's other ways to do that. If you really have
good
a
old
passion,
fashioned.
take all-
It's
Well,
good old fashioned
it's-
bullshit.
is what it is. Yeah. So don't
Yeah.
make it something it's not. And here's the thing, and I'll have hate mail for this, I promise. Because remember, I'm just junior scum. So I'm sure I'm going to hear about this. But the problem that I have with this is they actually believe what they're saying. They sit there and they actually believe that they think on the 777 or the 350 or the 78 flying the same damn route that they've flown a million times, that they're teaching the next generation. And it's like, no, all you're doing is having a bunch of FOs that are rolling their eyes going, when does grandpa go on break so I don't have to listen to this garbage? Now, again, I say that there's always exceptions. There's always exceptions, right? There's some great dudes out there that are fantastic. And you know what? They're not the ones preaching for this stuff. They're not. They're the ones that are like, if they're passionate, I've met these guys. They're like, I'm not going to fly for the airlines after this. I'm going to go work at the local flight school. I'm like, I met a guy recently that said that. He's a 350 captain. He's like, I retire in less than 6 months and I'm going to go work at the local flight school and teach guys. I go, really? He goes, yeah. He goes, I told him, don't even pay me. I don't need the money. I just want to teach. I was like, dude, that's amazing. So
you want to help the next generation? Go away.
Well, mover.
I mean, really, that's just
I get it.
Like that, the next generation needs that seniority number. I mean,
they do need the seniority.
And
again, though, like if you're a good instructor, if you're a good individual, Gonky, you and I saw this in the military, right? Like the sim guys, a lot of times were the really old, crusty guys that had been there. You know, the contract. Like, dude, I'm not saying they don't have experience that can't be passed on. Just don't BS everybody and tell us that that's the agenda. Here's the agenda for 95% of them. They've either made poor financial decisions or not poor financial decisions, but they know they like more money. They're narcissistic in the fact that they think that their whole identity revolves around being an airline pilot. And to prove it, you could look at how many clicks and likes they get on Instagram as social media followers, as the most cringeworthy 64-year-olds trying to do TikTok videos. And it's like, dude, just
in uniform.
It's like, dude,
uniform.
Just have some dignity. Like, do I want to get on an airliner and notice that the guy up front is recording a TikTok video at age 64? No, I don't. I want him to just be sitting up there going, you know what? I know that I can fly this flight because I've had everything happen to me. Like, come on, man. Like, just one of the greatest things, my aunt passed away a couple years ago. And I remember we would talk when I was younger, and I was like, so what are your goals when you retire? She's like, I want to retire with dignity. I remember she would say that. I want to retire with dignity. I want every one of these guys to look at themselves and be like, are you retiring with dignity by this, or are you just looking for more money? And they're all going to come to me and be like, you wait, man, when you're 63, you're going to want it. And I'm going to say, I can't predict what's going to happen to me at 63, but I could tell you I'm making things now to where that's not going to be me, because it's not me now.
Well,
so it's certainly not going to be me in 20 years.
Wombat, I would say, and I think we should clarify, because there are people genuinely that got screwed by the industry. You know,
don't disagree.
I mean, there are people now that are turning this age 65 that were negatively affected by the bankruptcies, 100%. The mergers, you know, the age 65 itself, you know, because they lost 5 years themselves and realize these are the good days. You know, these are the high paying glory days, but there were people making donkey wages as captains, you know, not too long ago. You know what I mean?
100%.
So
100%.
Some people are like, hey, I'm at retirement and, you know, I didn't have the opportunities, and I get that, but it's the system that we live in. The seniority system is based on people moving up and out so that people can come in and move up. So you have some kind of movement, because we are not based on merit. We are not based on, you know, performance or anything like that. I mean, obviously there's the minimum standard, but in order to hit that top of the scale, somebody has to move, or else it's pure stagnation. and 2 more years. I mean, it's just like it just doesn't come off right. It comes off as, especially when you're hiding it as let experienced pilots fly. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not about letting experienced pilots fly. It's about making up lost time. You want to call it the Lost Time Act? I didn't budget correctly. That's fine. I can't retire.
Sure.
You know, okay. And if you're one of the people that are affected by airline mergers and stuff like that, I definitely have empathy in that case. But if you're just doing it because you think you're God's gift and you're going to teach the next generation, get out of here. You're not doing any of that stuff.
Well,
That's
I agree, Mover. And to talk towards that, I remember having this conversation years ago with a handful of guys that I flew with, right? And they brought up that same point. They go, Todd, you don't understand. When I got hired at the airline, I was told, spend every dollar you make. You're going to have this pension. It's going to be amazing. So you don't understand what it's like to lose a pension and to be in that financial stress. And I go, okay. I go, well, first of all, I have to question your thought process if you believed somebody that told you to spend every dollar you make, right? Like that. Let's just think about that for a second. It's like, wait a second. I go, now as a business major, and I can tell you that pensions are really bad for companies. That's why they go away. But hold on. That's not even the point of this conversation. The point of this conversation is you said there's no way that I can possibly understand what it's like to lose a pension, except when Gonky and I joined the Navy and I was a young ensign. Gonky, what was my plan?
Admiral.
I was a lifer, right?
It still happened.
I was going to,
painful, so painful.
It still happened.
Dude, I was, yes, sir. I was going to do my 20. They literally had to drag me out with treating me so poorly to get me to leave, because I still would have stayed in. Okay. Well, but wait a second. When I started my career, I was expecting a pension, kind of, almost, right? Now I don't have one, kind of, almost, right? So don't sit there and talk to me that I don't understand what it's like to lose a pension. What I retort to these guys is, you sound like somebody who doesn't adapt well. Because here's a news flash. Life's going to kick you in the junk. And I feel bad for these guys that dealt with mergers and they dealt with bankruptcies. I feel bad. I do. That sucks, right? I also feel bad that they have 4 ex-wives. That sucks too. Also, there might be a data point there that it might not be the ex-wife's fault. I'm just saying, at some point, there's a common denominator, but that's a different conversation. What I don't feel bad for is people that get so set in their ways and they refuse to adapt and they just go, oh, woe is me. I was given the raw deal. There's no way for me to get out of it. And they just sit there and they sulk. Because you know what? For every one of these pilots that complains about getting a raw deal, I know a counterpart of theirs that made it work, doing something. They went out and they started a real estate business. They went out and they wrote books. They went out and they did something else on the side that generated a passive income that offsets what they lost at the airlines. So again, these are the differences here that helped the successful people and the unsuccessful people. And the unsuccessful people, unfortunately, are nearing the end of the finish line, and they're loud and they're pissed off and they're like, well, now what? I screwed up, so you have to help me. And it's like, no, we don't, man. No, we don't. And if you want to help the industry because you truly believe, you've convinced yourself that that is your reasoning behind this, and this has nothing to do with money, and go ahead and go teach. Every airline has contract instructors that are retired. You could still teach. I mean, we've literally heard of airlines that have instructors so old they've died in the sim. So you could literally work. It could be your identity until the day you leave this beautiful planet, if you want it to be. But here's the reason they don't want to do that either, Mover, because that's a pay cut. And damn it, I'm a 777 captain, and I deserve to be treated to this elite level. And all they're doing is they're doing the number one rule that I tell people not to do, and that's don't read your own press. And that's what they're doing, right? Any one of us can be replaced. We're not that important in this world. It's not even the reason why we're here. They need to start being honest with themselves about why they're doing this. Because again, if they really care about the next generation, there are ways to help the next generation. And their counterparts are figuring it out. The ones that are loud, that are doing this stuff, they're doing it because it's a money grab. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say much about it.
Look,
at all.
see, nobody knows. Like, of course, air traffic control, the military, some law enforcement agencies, civil service has mandatory retirement. Like, are you kidding me, dude? You don't know of any other place that has
Right.
ages where you come on, man. That's like
Yeah.
we're not even being honest with ourselves anymore.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Yep.
now, fly till you die. Okay,
Yeah.
that's
Go
fine.
ahead.
You know, get rid of seniority altogether. That's just
Yep.
not. Let's just you know what? It's who's the best. We're gonna have fights.
Oh, dude. Not even fights. Let's do it based on merit. Dude, I'll take the regional guy that's been doing 3 or 4 flights a day over the guy who's been flying 1 leg a month. Like, are you kidding me? Like, dude.
Yeah.
So
Anyway,